The way you've been portrayed through Married at First Sight is, I would say, as a viewer, Stephen, pig-headed, slightly abusive, and a bit of a bully.
I impersonated someone to match up with my ex. I went on to Hinge, created a fake profile, and she was telling me why she'd broken up with me, basically.
Did you get trolled?
Some of the comments I got, well, there was one that would stick me because it mentioned obviously my kid. It was like, I'm glad your kid's disabled so he doesn't get to see how much of a C word you are.
So you don't think you have an anger problem?
I can be fiery.
I'm going to ask you straight out, do you want to be famous? Did you and Julia Ruth ever have any sexual encounter? When did the cracks show with your marriage to Nelly? There must have been a point where something went, oh.
Yeah, do you know, and I've not had the chance to actually air this properly, so doing it here is probably the best thing. So,
hello and welcome to Get Gossy with Grossy, the showbiz podcast like no other. And firstly, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Service Box in Brighton and the wonderful eatery and entertainment venue, Soul Street, Beckenham. This podcast is going to be like no other. We will be going into the world of reality, pop stars, soap stars, film stars, sports. Anywhere in the celebrity showbiz world, we will be talking to them. And today I am delighted to launch my podcast with Married at First Sight UK, one of, I would say, the most interesting, very handsome, controversial stars of the series, the one, the only, Mr. Steven Springett.
no, I say thank you for having me. I've got to say the setup that you've brought me to today is unbelievable.
They have done really well.
You've literally rolled it all out for me today,
They
so
have.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So obviously people are probably, what the nation are probably saying, why was Steven not at the reunion? But here you are today talking to me. So the question really, first of all, is why were you not at the reunion?
I think for me, the first reunion I've done, that was my end game for me. My story had finished. I had realised that, look, I did do a little bit wrong. I'd said a few things that I probably shouldn't have said, but in the moment I said them. But I'm apologetic for it. I'm going to own up to my mistakes. I'm going to own up to the dating app and leave it there. Like, my journey had finished. I'd started a new phase of my life with work and EMDR therapy, which hopefully we'll talk about a bit as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I didn't want to unravel what I just started in my next phase of life. And I feel glad the second reunion would have done that exactly. So I decided to turn down the invitation.
Even though on the reunion that we saw, there were still references to you about the dating apps and sort of sarcastic sort of remarks about the way that you flirted with April or April flirted with you, and Nelly moving on because she's wonderful and every man should want to be with her. Dig, dig, let's get at Stephen. So obviously that first reunion that you did obviously may have not been enough, but you didn't feel that you had to go and have redemption. I use the word redemption again on the reunion that we saw recently, to go and explain yourself further.
I think for me, a lot of stuff had happened during the series, which had come out online and stuff. And, you know, Stephen had a girlfriend before, which I didn't. And there was no exclusivity there.
I mean, there's a caption I read about you. Stephen is a real character and he will make unmissable TV. He's really hot. He is. But he is trouble. And when he walks up the aisle, everybody will be talking about him. Now, the Stephen that I see in front of me now, I don't see that kind of Jack the Lad, bad boy, pig-headed man that you're portrayed. So why are you portrayed like that so early on?
It's a hard one to answer, really. For me, as you said, I don't feel I'm that kind of guy. Like, I like to think I've got good morals at times. Yes, it wasn't shown on the show. A lot of good bits you didn't see on the show and everyone didn't see on the show. But I think for me, they've shown the worst version of myself for sure. Like, I allowed a few things to get the better of me, which looking back at now, it's not great. That's on TV forever. But I think my journey now and my aftermath from MAFS is to show people who I actually am and what I'm about and who is Steven Springett and coming here.
Well, let's find out who Steven Springett is. Now, I want to go back to the beginning. You were born in Newcastle. Yeah. I mean, you must be the only Geordie that talks with a quite strong Essex or accent. brought up in, when did you leave Newcastle?
I think I moved down to Eltham at first, so South East London, when I was about 7 or 8.
Right.
So yeah, very early into my life, but the Geordie accent had went not long after, for sure. I used to say like, me mum down in school, and they'd be like, who? So yeah, the accent went through friendship groups, living down here, learning certain phrases. And yeah, what you hear now is my surroundings that I've been brought up in.
So were your parents both Geordies?
No, so my biological dad is a Geordie. My mum's actually from Erith.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, she's
Oh,
originally
she's
from
real
down
Kent
south.
then,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, only my biological dad is a Geordie.
Okay. Tell me about growing up in Newcastle and your parents. Let's talk about your real parent, your real father.
Yes. So my dad itself, well, I call him by his name only now, but he apparently he was interested in me when I was a kid. He used to come around and see me, but I'm a baby, I'm not going to know that. But from a certain age, I never had any association with my dad. It was only when I hit 18, I'd actually said to my sister, like, Jordan, who do you think this person trying to add me on Facebook is? And she went, it's you in about 60 years. And I went off there, it's my biological dad. And so I accepted him thinking he was going to talk to me. Nothing. Then he would comment on my photos saying, oh, football runs in the family, son. I used to delete it. I'm not your son. You haven't brought me up. My stepdad has.
So did you have no relationship with your father at all?
No, none. And a lot of it in my adult life has been by choice. He actually posted something.
I mean, as a child?
Oh, yeah, as a child, yeah, like absolutely nothing. Like, my mum was a single mum for pretty much all my childhood life until she met my, say, stepdad when she moved down here. And then, say, he's been my dad ever since. Like, he's brought me up, he's taught me how to cook, taught me how to clean. Like, my mum.
What do you know of your biological father? What kind of man was he?
Well, I know he's got lots of kids. That's all I know. So obviously he must have saw himself as a jack lad up there himself. I think he was a former cab driver by all accounts as well. But yeah, that's about as much as it goes from there. I haven't asked questions about him. Say, even when he had me on social media and I saw a post he made, it was very misogynistic. It was very controversial. And I called him out on it. And then he started saying, oh, the way you've been brought up's been wrong. And I went, whoa, hang on a second here. And I've got the screenshots of that conversation on my phone still. I've kept it for years just to remind myself of, I'm so glad you had this assumption of your biological dad.
I mean, a boy normally, I mean, I had a difficult relationship with my father, mainly because I wanted to go into theatre. I wanted to be an actor. And he was a farmer. So it was like, you can't be an actor.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be a farmer. He was a man's man, and being in theatre wasn't a man's man thing to do. We're talking over 30 years ago. But for you, you and your relationship with your father and you wanting to be a sportsman, which you were or are, do you think that affected you growing up as a boy to how your outlook is on your life or how you see women?
Yeah and no, really. I'd like to think I've taken a lot from my stepdad. Like, again, there's not many conversations I've had with him to be like, so what's the birds and the bees kind of conversation. I've never had that with my stepdad, and I never had that with my dad. Like, it was very much of, I learn as I'm in it. My first relationship at 14, I was with her for 6 years.
Wow.
So I learned very early, like, oh, this is what a relationship's like. And that's your first love. That's young love. That's not what we know as true love and what we think love is. We just think, oh, this is it. So I very much learned as I went on. Yes, I've got 3 older brothers who were in now relationships themselves when one of them's 9 years older than me. So
your first relationship was at 14 years old?
yeah, 14.
Proper relationship?
Proper relationship, yeah.
That's young.
Yeah.
That's very young.
Yeah, and so it's weird because when me and her split up, it kind of like life unraveled, and we'll probably touch on it a bit anyway, but it kind of felt like my life at 30 repeated what my life was like at 20 because of like certain
Do you
events
think being in a relationship, or how can you call it a relationship at 14, but you were with somebody at that so long at that early age, did you really have chance to go out and venture and meet women, experience the birds and bees and blah, blah, blah? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it was weird because I went to a mixed school, obviously boys and girls, and my girlfriend at the time went to an all-girls one. So I was integrated with girls in around school, and you would chat to them and part of growing up, me and friends, right? So, but I never had an interest in any of those because I knew what I had was very good, even at that age. So when obviously that ended, the attack happened.
So you obviously have a respect for women at 14 years
Yeah.
old because you had a loyalty to the girl that was at the girls' school. So this, like the way you've been portrayed through Married at First Sight is, I would say, as a viewer, Stephen, pig-headed, slightly abusive, and a bit of a bully. And there's still, I think that's the aftermath of how you now look
Yeah.
through that show. And looking at you and listening to you today, I'm a good judge of character. I don't see that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I don't think, and I go back to what I said, you weren't at that reunion. You have not been able to redeem yourself. And obviously you decided to do that. I know you went to the first one, but this was the final one last night. Julia Ruth, who we'll come on to, she did say that she sums the whole experience up.
Yeah.
And your summing up was, he made us cringe, but he's been on Hinge. So, you know, it's like if men use dating apps, which a lot of them do, there's nothing wrong with it. But the whole thing was that you were with Nelly and you're on a dating app, which is a big no-no. There's no loyalty. But again, that's the aftermath of what they made you look. But you're saying you had a girlfriend at 14 years old in a girls' school, you were loyal to her. Then you were loyal at 14 years old. So why are you not at 34?
Well, this is what I mean. I think even with the Hinge comment, and I know obviously Dean dropped it in the rap, which was quite comical at the time. But when you think about it, thinking that's on me, like people are gonna know me as, oh, Steve was on Hinge. He's a player. He's this. He's that. He's a cheater, which I get called all the time. Well, actually, I'd left the process.
Have you ever cheated in 34 years on a woman?
No. Because I think for me, I've always said, if someone done it to my mum, if someone done it to my sister, and now my daughter, when she gets old enough, I'd be livid. I'd be furious.
But there are a lot of men that do cheat on women. There are a lot of men that go on dating apps. There are a lot of gay men that go on Grindr, as we saw last night. You know, at the end of the day, you can love somebody. Is it ever enough?
Yeah, look, and I know of people, I won't ever name their names, who have done that, but that's very boyish mentality. Like, if you're not committed to someone, don't commit to them. I think for me, like, I'd left the journey as well when I was on Hinge.
But they made you from the beginning. They said that you're trouble. This is what's sticking in my mind. Why do they feel that? Why were you portrayed as trouble? I would say you and probably one or two others, probably the most troublesome males in the whole program.
And I think for me, I question marked that when I first read it before the show even started. I thought, look, I know how my journey's ended here, but if that's how I'm being portrayed, then I can't do much for it. But and Ash said it great. He went, Steve, you gave great advice to people.
You did.
Like Beck's included, and they never even showed that on TV.
No.
The day in which I walked out of the spa and apparently threw my glass, Beck raised the question of, I want to say I love you to Bailey, but I don't know how. And I actually stepped in and said, look, the minute you're scared to jump. Because Bailey will be the one catching you. And say Beck was very grateful for that, and they never showed that. I'm thinking, well, I'm giving this advice to people. Yeah, I'm not taking it myself, but like, you can see another version of me that I'm actually looking out for other people. I spoke to Lee with her relationship with Leah, never saw that. My relationship with David and Kia was actually pretty good. But what you saw on TV was actually, I went into their room.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you know, and I know they're making a show. It's a reality show. They're going to twist things. They're going to play games. But the main thing is about you is you went on that show looking for love. I'm assuming you went. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to ask you straight out. Do you want to be famous?
Not really, no. But I think for me, look, I've been given the platform, and I'll try and use that to.
But a lot of people go on reality shows. I didn't. I went on for a platform, but I didn't go on to be famous when I did Big Brother. I went on for an experience and a challenge. I was at a point in my life where I was having mental health problems, and I thought it would be very good for me to do. And in some ways it was, actually. In some ways it wasn't. But the question I've got for you is, a lot of people that go on shows like Married at First Sight now, UK, Australia, wherever, they go on because they want to be famous and get endorsements and earn lots of money. Is that you?
No. But I think for me, look, my image alone, I'm very image conscious myself. Like, I'd only ever posted socially of football. I'd never really done reels up until the show.
Let's talk about football. So at 19, you played for Ebbs Fleet. That's quite an achievement
Yeah.
for a boy that was raised in Newcastle, came down to where you came down to South, you came to the South, and then you got the platform to play for Ebbsfleet. That's quite creditable.
Yeah, so for me, look, football's been in the blood. Like my brothers have done it. Obviously, my mum was a woman coach up in Newcastle before as well.
Oh,
So
really?
it's always been in the blood. So for me, doing youth football, you never really think football's going to be my career.
Were you close to your mother? Are you
Yeah,
close to your mother?
I speak to her every day, FaceTime every
Really?
day.
Okay.
She's always asking if I'm okay, even still now at 35. But I think with
Did
the
you
football
protect
stuff,
her when with growing up with the father?
yeah, well, look, my mum had her own journey with her relationships in the past as well, because that's how, which we won't go into. But look, she's had her experiences in life. Some have been good, some have been very bad, and I think I then become protective of her because I've seen it. I've lived in that house while she was going through that stuff, so I wouldn't then want to put a woman in that situation. Which is why when I come back and said, "Look, I'm sorry to you, Nelly, for how I made you feel," because I was.
Because you saw it growing up as a child,
Yeah.
and in a way, I went through that as well with my parents. So yeah, but you played for Ebbsfleet, and you had a good career as a footballer. You're a professional footballer. Not many people get that opportunity.
I mean, look, I'm not going to turn around and say I was the greatest professional footballer, because I wasn't. Like, I was swayed too much by friends, who I love, by the way. I'm not bringing them into dispute.
But you were paid to play football.
Yeah, paid to play, but I would use that kind of thing. Like, I would go out, I say I'm not drinking because of football, but then I would go out and have a couple, and then I'll turn up to training, run it out of my system. I never really took it as seriously as what I thought I should have.
Okay.
So obviously, like, hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? But I got given a platform of football, which literally only 1% of players get in a professional game, sometimes less than 1%.
Yeah.
And everything I thought I wanted to become was just ruined by my own professionalism, which sounds bad because I like to think, look, I'm a quite sensible person now anyway. But back then, I used to have my brother say to me, look, you need to go do this, you need to go do that, get yourself to the gym. And I'm like, yeah, no, I will. Never listened.
And you didn't.
I never listened. I was a naive boy.
But then you went to Epsom, didn't you? So you went
Yeah.
from Ebbsfleet to Epsom. So you must have been a good player.
Well, I had many clubs
Yeah.
in between, like non-league system wise, and a lot of them gone to do great things as well. But I think Epsom was my redemption arc in football, really. It was, I went my whole career not really winning any league titles or cups, stuff like that, but to finally get promotion through the playoffs with Epsom after being there 3 years, it felt like a relief. I thought, I can retire now. And then when I went into the management side of things, I took them over when they were bottom of the league and got them to 16th and clear of the relegation zone. So I thought, that's my club. Like, I've been there 3 years, love the chairman to bits. Like, Mel, he's a great guy. Like, everyone associated with that football club are amazing people. And I thought, I want to give something back to you because you've helped me with my kids at times when I didn't have any people to look after them on a game day. Like, Mel, the chairman, whilst he's got all these other stuff going on, he would actually look after my boy with his needs, my daughter as well, whilst I'm playing 90 minutes of football for his football club.
Going from Ebbsfleet, then you went to play for Epsom. In between that time, you had your first child.
Yeah, so I had Piper. I was 24 going on 25 when Piper was born. And that was just life-changing in itself, because I always thought I'd be a young dad. I never expected it, but I thought I was going to be.
Did you want to be?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, that was, the circle moment of, I wanted to be a better dad than the one I actually had. I wanted to be present for my kids.
I think talking to you, and I can relate to it a bit because I had a very, very hard time with my father. You have, I think your relationship with your biological father has impacted you a lot in your life. Do you agree?
Oh yeah. That's my therapy taught me that as well, which I thought.
Well, I'm not a therapist, but I should be. I mean, but I can relate to it because I have been there as well. And I do think, but I didn't have a stepdad. You know, he was my father, but he impacted me a lot on my life, and I do think it does stay with you.
Yeah.
And do you think? I mean, you played football professionally. You had 2 children in a core of like 4 or 5 years. A lot of stuff was going on. A lot.
Yeah, a lot of things are. This was coming away from the attack as well at 19 going to 20. Like I mentioned, I was in a relationship from 14.
So the children, the mother of your children, it's the same mother, isn't it?
Yeah, same mother, yeah.
And can we talk about her? How was that your childhood sweetheart? The 14?
No. So my childhood sweetheart, we had to be up at 19, and then 3 months later I was attacked. Not linked in any way.
So
shape, or
you were
form, but
attacked before you had your children?
yeah. And
Let's talk about the attack. I mean, we don't need to go in and out. I know you've talked about it, but you were brutally attacked by a group of 9 people for a college dispute. I mean, it must have been a bit of a dispute. What happened?
it's a weird one because we were the footballers in college. Like we was at a school like down in Kent, and we used to have to wear our Ep.1 tracksuits. So there's 32 of us, and then you got the girls there have obviously taken an interest to us because we're new to that school. It's the first time they'd had that at school, and we've got the year 10s, the year 11s, other sixth formers didn't like that we were different, and we used to be in the canteen eating our lunch before training, and you'd see like a knife get thrown onto the table or a fork from the distance. So you'd get up and say, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how dangerous that is. You're
Yeah.
throwing cutlery at people.
Yeah.
And then it sort of stems from there. Like, apparently, one of the girls had taken interest to me. Again, like, with obviously not with my obviously the partner at the time. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Like, she's talking to me. I'm going to say hello. I'm not rude. And then he thought I was obviously cracking on with his partner. I walked to the gym one day, come back, I had a drink in my hand and the chocolate bar, and he was like, mouthing off. I thought, hey, come on. Like, I'm not going to, my exact words for him, I'm not going to waste my time on someone as tiny as you. Basically, like, I've got everything going for me and you've got nothing going for you. That was exactly what I said. Even now, I remember what I said. It was, I'm not going to say like people's like height and stuff, but I'm towering over in him. He's looking at me. He's a younger lad. I can't touch him because of football and obviously wearing a badge. You know, you have to respect the badge at all times. I thought I'll have to verbally say stuff to him so it hurts him.
Yeah.
Damages his ego even at that age.
Little man.
And then it got to a point where some other school kids were surrounding and they were laughing at what I was saying. So I knew it hurt him, but I knew it hurt him verbally. He couldn't say anything to me, and the teacher come over and just got rid of it. And then when the attack happened, 2 of my friends were going to university that week. So I thought, look, you go, you drink, I'll drive. They went to local McDonald's. I've called them as I walked out of the club. Heard a group of guys say something, turned around and thought, not meant for me. Carried on going. They said it again. But I was the only one there. The only one walking there. So, like they said, they must be talking to me. And as I turned around, I clocked the boy from college straight away. And I just knew the area I was at, it was renowned for fights. Happened every event there. So he's come up to me. He said, look, do you remember me? I went, yeah, you was the little so-and-so from 2 years before. I'm trying to build up the adrenaline in my head because I knew what was going to happen. There's 9 of them and there's 1 of me. I'd be an idiot to think, oh, this is
They
gonna...
square up to you?
Yeah, they're surrounding me. I sort of backed up to the wall so they couldn't actually go around me. And it was only when a girl I went to school with called me by my nickname, like obviously Geordie, and was just like, oh, Geordie, just leave it. And as she pulled my arm away, I got punched in the back of the head the first time.
Okay.
And it sort of stemmed into the car park and I was getting punched. I knew my nose had broken through one of the punches. And they never really got me like down on the floor. So it wasn't like they all just piled up on me. It was like turned into a punch and they were trying to kick my legs down. And I remember getting my car key and the whole Blackberries at the time. And I was like, I messaged my mates by now, I'm going back to the car. They didn't know it kicked off yet. So as I'm walking back to the car, the next thing I knew, I woke up in an ambulance.
Wow.
And then when I'm being asked at the hospital what happened, I went, I don't know.
You don't remember?
How am I supposed to know what's happened? I was walking back to my car.
Yeah.
I thought, did I get run over? Did I step out in front of a car? Because I remember seeing headlights. And when someone was like, no, look, Steve, you got hit in the back of the head.
They could have killed you.
Yeah, because the last blow that done me was in the back of the head.
I mean, they really could have killed you.
And you see it now on social media, especially, people get killed by one punch outside of a club.
Absolutely.
So you count your blessings.
No knives, no weapons.
No.
Just
And-
all their hands.
Yeah, and for me, like, I knew my nose was broken and that was it at first. The fall onto the road had actually...
And all this
ridiculous.
stemmed from the smaller guy, and he thought you were knocking off his girlfriend,
Yeah.
or you fancied his girlfriend.
Yeah.
which you didn't.
No.
So we go back to women again.
Yeah.
You're a magnet for women, Stephen.
But I never understood it. Like, people say, like, even at work, oh, you've got an aura at times. I'm like, what? Because I just say what I feel at times. Like, my job was always to challenge process and procedure at times. Not in a bad sense, just
No.
I've worked through it.
But the impact of that attack ruined your career as a footballer, didn't it?
Yeah, look, it definitely had an impact. No, like, my confidence was shot.
Well, it would be.
After that,
You're
like,
how old?
I was 19 going on 20.
Yeah, which is
So-
man's in his prime, growing up, and
Yeah.
and your confidence.
And for me, because of the fallout with my manager at the time at Ebbsfleet, I was like, well, I've just rekindled that to the point where, like, he actually talks to me again. And then it was like, my contract's up for renewal in June, but I'm now injured going to a nightclub, which he hated, by the way. He hated people going out on the piss, especially in the week. Even if he had Wednesdays off, he hated people going out. And he went, you went to a local area, this has happened, you're now out of football for 4 months till whenever. And when I come back, I'd go up for a head and I thought, oh, my nose was shattered. So it wasn't just broken anymore.
Yeah, but as a man, to have that amount of damage done to you must have been horrendous, like for you and your confidence, and you know the whole how your outlook must have been awful.
Like, I didn't want to go out for months after, and my 2 friends who live in Australia now, they used to come around and drag me out of the house.
Because you were frightened what people would say. People make comments.
The scarring on my face, the first time I went out after, my mum and sister took me to, I think it was like TGI's, and I had the face mask on. They said, oh, you have to wear it to keep your nose straight and stuff for a number of months. I thought, what? But it was like a skin colour thing. So look, I had a growth on my face.
And how did you feel every morning when you woke up? Did you feel just like crap? Did you just feel like you just couldn't? Did you feel that low? Did you feel low?
Yeah, I thought, look, I'm 19, but I've just lost my career because I'm never getting that back because my manager doesn't like me.
So you lost. You're 19. You lost your career. You feel ugly.
Oh, I still do now to some degree. This is why I said when people describe me as hot, I'm like, what are you seeing? Because I know my scars are on my face, and I see that every day. Obviously, I have to tell myself that, no, look, you're going to be someone's 10. I always say that to people. You're going to be someone's 10, but you might be someone's 1. Someone might look at you and think, oh, absolutely not. But someone might look at you and be like, you're the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And you'd always question that, but you'd never doubt, well, you're a 1. So I'd still have those doubts now, thinking, look, what does someone see in me? But at the same time, I'd like to think I give a lot more than just an image and look to someone. I can give safety and security and, you know, like a future kind of thing.
But again, you're not portrayed as that.
No.
The people that know Steven Springett on the street today, from Married at First Sight, we don't see that. We see a totally different thing. And your story, which is why we're talking today, which is so interesting. So that kind of like happened. When was it you sort of, after that attack, you started to turn a corner again and get your life back on track? You had your children.
Yeah. Well, so it was about 3 years after. So this was pre-kids. I just met the kid's mum, Chloe, and say she looked past the whole scars. I don't see what you're on about, Steve. Like, I went, what? So, oh, well, I like you for you kind of thing. And I thought, okay, I kind of needed to hear that, but I didn't think I needed to. So credit to her. And I say, like, she's my kid's mum. Like, she got me out of...
Why did the relationship break down with Chloe?
She just fell out of love. Lockdown happened as well. So the cracks had become holes. We were bickering a little bit more. I'd put my hands up, I'd let myself go.
How long were you together?
6.5 years, I think.
But she stood by you through all that attack. I mean, a lot of women would have, well, no, women, if you love somebody, it doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah.
Looks are artificial. It's what's inside, as you've said. But Chloe stood by you, but you fell out of love. I'm interested to know why.
Well, no, she fell out of love with me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so lockdown was easing, and I remember I went to football on a Saturday. I hadn't been out of the house. I needed to get out. Like, that relationship was on its hinges. Like, so I went out to football, finished the game, saw a text message saying we're done. Thought, well, what have I done?
And you never, while you're with Chloe, cheated?
No. Because for me, like, she's just birthed. Like, when Piper was born, we were together a year before we found out she was pregnant. So it was very quick when it happened. So when I found out, obviously I was having a girl as well, and when Piper was born.
But she's the mother of both your children.
Yeah, both of them, yeah.
So you had children and the relationship ended.
Yeah.
She fell out. How did that, again, that was a blow for you? It must have been.
Yeah,
serious blow.
Yeah, but I swept that under the carpet. I thought, do you know what? I'd got over the attack by this point mentally. So I thought, if I can get over that, a relationship breaking down is going to be a walk in the park. So I just put it to bed. I thought, look, I still have to talk to her because of the kids. So I still have to have some form of relationship with her, although it's not that relationship. And I thought, well, I'll meet someone again. But even then I thought no one's going to want someone with 2 kids.
Yeah, but I mean, in this generation, Stephen, people do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's very common now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and it is, again, it happens if you fall in love with somebody who likes somebody, they've got kids, you accept it. Married at First Sight UK. What made you, well, I think I know. I mean, you had a stream of bad luck and, you know, lots of things that went on. Why did you apply? Why did you go on Married at First Sight?
I think for me, so like, I was called for Married at First Sight, but if we're going to the actual why I went on there, and was genuinely find someone. And I thought, do you know what? I've done the dating apps, hadn't worked. I dated after the kid's mum.
But you went on a national television to meet. It's not just a dating show. It's not Love Island. It's marriage. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a big thing that you're signing up for. And you had children as well. Did you consider all those things? Your children in 10 years, 15 years time, when they're approaching adults, they will be able to watch you in that experience. Did you think about all those things?
I did briefly. I think because of the 10 days notice I had, everything was so quick.
Because you were going on another show, weren't you?
I was being cast for another show.
Can you say what that show is?
I think I can now, yeah. So it was like Stranded on Honeymoon Island.
Oh, I saw that. I watched that.
Yeah, so
Davina McCall.
I'd went to the studio.
Like it, actually.
Yeah, I went into the studio the week prior to getting the call from MAFS. So when they called me, I thought they'd give me the confirmation date. So when they said, no, look, it's so-and-so from CPL, you know, we want you for MAFS. I thought, have I applied for that? But no, you haven't applied, but we've seen your tape. We want you on here. I thought, okay.
But they were two very different shows.
Yeah.
So
but they both had a marriage concept.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but I mean, I would say Married at First Sight's a bit more brutal, a bit more real.
And I should have clocked on, because I'd only ever really watched the Australian version. But I thought, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
So I'd heard, obviously, Australian version doesn't have much welfare, UK does. I thought, I'll be fine, given how I thought my mind was going into it.
Yeah.
I thought, there won't be no issues.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, the kids will see it in years to come, I thought, well, I'll be fine on this. So I wouldn't.
So you went on Married at First Sight, and we saw you, watched you, and you were married to Nelly. When you went on the show and you turned round and you saw Nelly, was she your cup of tea? Was she the girl that you would look at and think, yeah, I want to marry you?
The initial reaction of wow was that I thought she looked stunning when she got carried in. I mean, it definitely took me by surprise to see someone get carried in. But like, was it someone I would have dated, would have saw in a nightclub and approached her? Probably not. Like, no. Like, I've dated people who aren't her, like generically blondes or brunettes. Like, I've never.
So you had a look that you must have been asked by the casting team what you go for.
Yeah.
And although Nelly is stunning, she wasn't what you would normally go for. So it's called Married at First Sight. You turn around and looked at her. Yes, she was carried in, Indian authentic, the ceremony, which is very nicely done. Did you think, this is not going to sit well for me?
No, not at all. Not at all. And do you know why? When I was standing at the altar at first and I had to turn around and engage with her friends and family, I thought, do you know what? They all seem so down to earth.
Okay.
And I thought, she's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Instantly, I thought, her brother was funny off the bat. Her friends, I saw that.
Remember, people are nervous though. People are nervous, and you're on a show. You have to put on a show.
Yeah.
As such, or do you? I don't know.
But yeah, there's an element of it that people talk about masks, right? That mask.
Yeah, but there's no mask if you're going to marry somebody.
Yeah.
You've got to sleep in the same bed with somebody. You're allegedly a couple, and that's it.
And for me, like when she got carried in, she was nervous as hell. When she took my hand, she
People
was
would be.
sweating
Of
profusely.
course,
But
yeah.
I said, look, don't worry, like, we've got this. And I thought, from how the wedding night went, the whole day went, it was amazing. Like, honestly, it was incredible. Like, we had the best wedding on that show, without shadow, and
Yeah.
honeymoon.
Can I just quickly go before going on the show? You had a girlfriend. You were seeing somebody called Melissa. Is that right?
Wasn't my girlfriend, no.
Right.
Yeah, so-
Although it's been reported, or she's made a big thing.
Yeah,
about
so-
it was that you had signed up for a show, you disappeared, and you allegedly brought her roses, and you did this or did that, and she was seeing you.
Yeah, so we had started talking like November time as well. So like, what's missed from the story is like, I didn't have a car from November till December because I needed a new engine. So I didn't actually see her physically.
You can
in
still
that
be
time.
with somebody if you don't see them,
Yeah,
though.
so we spoke from the November, December, so we spoke every day, all throughout the day. So we got on really well. And then when I had the car back, saw her more in January, a couple of times a week. Thought, oh, that's actually pretty sound. But we never went out on a date. It was all very much like I'd go to hers and just chill.
But was she
because-
not enough for you?
She's a lovely girl. But again, I think me and her had a dispute before about, oh, would you ever do dating shows? Well, and at this time I was like, no, like if I'm seeing someone and I'm seeing someone, like if it's going well. But then she started telling me about like exclusivity, and it's like, well, if you're into me, like why don't you make it more exclusive? I'm all right, if that's what makes you happy. I was like, well, let's make it exclusive then. She said no. So I went, well, hang on. You can't turn around and say you want this, and then when I actually say, do you want to be exclusive? And you say no. So we had a bit of a disagreement. Yes, I had bought her the flowers. It wasn't 100, it was 50. It makes me sound cheap there, but it was 50 roses.
But even so, you had struck up some sort of friendship or relationship with Melissa. But in the meantime, you got the call for Married at First Sight. You went on Married at First Sight, and she saw you on television.
Yeah, so I'd cut it off with Melissa before I got the call.
So you did end it.
Yeah,
And
we spoke like in February at times, but it was never.
Did she know you were going on Married at First Sight? You weren't allowed to tell her, were
No,
you?
you can't.
You're
Like,
not
so
allowed to tell her.
The only people that knew were the people that were
Your
invited to
family.
the wedding.
But how much impact do you think that on her? How much feelings do you think she had for you? Do you ever know that when she saw you on television, married a stranger,
Yeah.
how she was left?
Yeah, I can imagine that it's obviously affected her because obviously she done that 3-part story, right? Like, of course it did. But I thought this wouldn't have been a thing had I'd not done the show.
No,
So
of course not.
and I think that's what amplified it for me. Is like, you're only doing this because I'm on the show.
But if you felt strongly or wanted to continue stuff with Melissa, you would have stayed with Melissa and probably not have done Married at First Sight.
yeah, if things were actually getting to a point where like
yeah.
we were more exclusive,
Yeah.
I would have said no to it.
So you went on Married at First Sight. You got paired with Nelly. We watched your journey. We watched it, and you started off. I have to say, the first honeymoon, beautiful journey, absolutely, the whole journey. And I had high hopes for you on Married at First Sight because I would never have seen that relationship break down the way it did, and quite brutally as well. And you were the one that was made to look pig-headed, a bully, and abusive. And it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. When did the cracks show for you, Stephen, with your marriage to Nelly? There must have been a point where something went, oh.
Yeah, and I've not had the chance to actually air this properly, so doing it here is probably the best thing. So it come across on the honeymoon. This was very early as well, that doing little things for her was fine, which I did. That romantic gesture, like at the dinner. But when she asked me, like, look, this is where I think something's going to go wrong, I thought, I've just done this nice thing for you, and your first thought is, oh, something's going to go wrong here, which look, inevitably it did. So fair play to her. But we were having conversations.
I'd call that insecurity.
Yeah, but she was telling me people she's dated, their ex-professions, pilots, they drove Lamborghinis, they done this. I went, I don't care. Like, you could drive a Citroen Saxo for all I care. Like, it would not bother me. So it kind of felt like it was a one up.
Snobbery?
Like, yeah, and I went. She didn't strike me as a snobbery person, but it's in that moment I thought it's not beneficial to us. Like, tell me about your exes, yes, and tell me why they cheated on you, because that's obviously impacted you more. Don't tell me what they used to drive and what they used to do as a profession, because look, I work in finance. Technically, right now, I've left my work. I'm going back to my new place in April. So technically, I'm unemployed. So does that make me a bum? No, it doesn't. It makes me that.
Was she trying to make you jealous?
I don't know.
But are you
Honestly,
a jealous person?
Not far from.
So going on about ex-boyfriends and what they do for a living and how much they earn a year and what they drive, what was the point of saying that to you?
Well, this is what I didn't understand. And I thought, look,
Did that turn you off?
It gave me question marks, obviously. Of course, I went, well, again, why is it relevant? Like, it's not relevant to getting to know, especially at that moment in the honeymoon. We should be talking about fun things, not like who you've dated in the past. Like, I'm not turning around and saying, yeah, I've done X, Y, Z in the past. Like, I don't care. Like, people.
We all have insecurities. Yeah. We all have confidence. You went through a lot in the attack and stuff. You came into that marriage to talk about somebody else's succession, ex-boyfriends and stuff, does damage the ego somewhat. It can do, especially in the environment that you were in as well. Yeah. She should probably have not have done that.
And the thing is that she's come out recently and said on another podcast that she felt it go bad when she mentioned how much she earned compared to me. I was like, but that's never bothered me either. Because I remember having a conversation with her on a Sun Lounge. Going, look, okay, look, you're a dentist. Like, obviously, the work that you do is obviously quite a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So I was like, what would be a bad month for you? Just a throwaway comment. And she was like, oh, a bad month for me is this. I thought, quite.
Well, I want to know what.
Yeah. I went, like, about 10 grand, she said. I went, oh, it's not.
What, a month?
Yeah, for a bad month. I went, oh, so a good month must be fantastic. So she was like, yeah, like, I'll do all right. I went, well, yeah, no shit kind of thing. Like, I get it.
Do you think that Nelly was competitive?
Yeah, but I think Nelly would tell you she was competitive as well.
Which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, it's never a bad thing.
For a woman to succeed in the world and be successful, you've got to be competitive.
Oh, 100%.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But in a relationship, I don't think it's fair to say to you in that environment on a honeymoon, oh, my ex earned this amount of money. He drove this, that. And for you as well, Steven, and she must have known about the attack and what you went through, and it must have affected your confidence terribly. She should have thought about before saying that.
And you know what? Saying those comments to me, like, it sounds good because I'm quite quick-witted with it. In my head, I'm not even sure if I said it out loud to her at the time. I went, yeah, but look where it's got you though. Like, yes, you've dated people who've been pilots and they've earned this before. I went, but you've just married me. Like, clearly it hasn't worked. So I'm not then asked saying, well, what did you do for it to go wrong? I've went, okay, well, their loss. I mean, I've said like their loss. And even the spa break thing, this was off camera. She's talking about like how she used to be a certain way. I'm like, yeah, but you're not that person anymore, Nelly. Like, 3 people have cheated on you. That doesn't mean you're not good enough for them. They're not good enough for you. That's the difference. So I'm trying to like install that into her confidence-wise, but that's not being shown on camera. And I'm like, well, let me have these conversations on camera, but you're not. Like, I'm trying to build this person's confidence up, singing, and I even said, and this was shown on the show, you are someone's 10, like, you are a 10, Nelly. When the whole Julie Ruth thing come out, she was like, I'm not a 10 compared to her. I went, no, but you are a 10, Nelly. And someone will think you're a 10. Whether that's me or whether that's someone else, someone will think you're a 10. And it's like, you need to shake off that whole image. Cause I've done it before, and that's why I was doing it. Like, shake it off, because you're telling your mindset that you're not good enough for anyone. And that will factor into a relationship. If you're telling yourself, because I saw yourself with the girls of confident, you're independent, you're a driven person, you've got a fantastic career, show that in a relationship. Because for me, I'm an independent person. I don't need to be told, oh, look, I'm going to be here at this time. Go out to girls, do your own thing, get your nails done, go for cocktails, have the best time in the world.
Micromanage you a little bit.
And I'll see you when you get back. But it was like, if I had done that, I'm not a gym freak by any sense, but I'd go to the gym with like Joe and Ash and Leo and John when they arrived, and then we'll go to get some brunch. But Nelly never had breakfast. So this whole thing, when I cooked for April, it was like made of a song and dance. I went, yeah, you said don't cook for her. I made her breakfast because she cooked me a dinner the night before. But you don't eat breakfast, Nelly. You had about 6 cups of tea in the morning, and whoever woke up first was put the kettle on. But don't make a song and dance about me not ever making you breakfast because you never actually ate it. And when we did go out for brunch with the boys, and I took her out as well for brunch, and that's what never come up. It was always like, I'll get her something to take back.
Yeah, that's
I like, thank you, I appreciate that. That's kind of like, yeah, brilliant.
But what I'm trying to work out is when did the cracks start to show? This is the thing. I mean, you're saying that she was going on about ex-boyfriends and things. That may be a bit of a turn off for you. Maybe, I don't know, did you feel, well, I'm the boy that came from Newcastle. I'm now living down south, blah, blah, blah. You're this high flyer dentist. You've got all this credibility. You earn £10,000 a month, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It is a lot of money. Did you feel slightly belittled? Like did you go back to loss of confidence, feeling, because I would say that was a turn off.
It's definitely a turn. I wouldn't say I felt my confidence drop. It was more when we moved into the apartment together was like the biggest one, because it's the first time she had lived with a guy and I hadn't lived with someone since the kid's mum. So it's then understanding how each other work. So that had come about, and then of course the rib incident happened, the breaking of the rib, and
you went out.
I questioned it. Yeah,
you went out, and she felt that you should be there, and
and
everybody else thought that you should be there, and maybe, I don't know. Do you think you should have been there?
I should have left and went back earlier, absolutely, and I held my hands up to that.
But did you not go back early because you were fed up? You were starting to lose interest.
I was, and I think a lot of guys could probably resonate with this as well, and sometimes even girls, like when they're out with their girlfriends. Like when you're in that environment of just away, although you're in the experiment, you're away from it with the guys. You're having a laugh, you're having a drink. Yes, some conversations were had at the pub that night where, do you think you matched up with your...
I want to hold on a minute. But I still want to find out. Stephen, could you be asked?
I think I said week 4, week 5, I was done.
And that was the night when she broke the rib, and you should have gone back.
No,
about that
just
time.
Before. Week 3, she broke her rib.
Okay, so it's quite early on.
So obviously, I had the news about my stepdad being in hospital,
which is understandable, and in some ways she was supportive. She did say about that.
And do you know what she said to me? Sorry to cut you off. She said to me, like, if you feel that you need to go see him, go. But I said to her, I went, if I go, Nelly, I wouldn't come back.
Okay,
that's the problem. And because it was so soon into the marriage, it wasn't fair on either of us.
To be on television, Stephen, and film a show like that and go through what you went through, I think that was really, really admirable of you, and anybody would understand that. But the thing is, the cracks did start to show, and a male or a female that's in a relationship that is out with their friends and they're back at home, and it's like, do you know what? I can't be bothered. It's like, I want me time. I want to do something for me. And I think, for me, listening to you and watching you on that show, the cracks did start to show maybe quite early on, and it just developed and developed and developed. And she was quite needy.
Do you know, she asked me, going off that needy comment as well, she asked me the first mixer we had. So obviously we had just come back. It's the first time we're seeing who married who. And we'd sort of guessed who had married who. But it was like, we went back to our little pods before going back into the dinner party. And it was, so be honest with me, Steve. I was like, what? She's like, do you fancy any other wives? I went, no. I went, I'm married to you. I was like, what silly comment.
But did you?
No. Obviously, like, until that point, I had no attraction to any of the wives.
So the whole thing with April that was mentioned on the reunion show about you flirt, they kept on about it. The whole Bex and Bailey thing, and that you were April was flirting with you. Were you attracted to her by that time?
No, not by that time. I think what people need to understand of April as well, like, she was very much on Nelly's side during that whole partner swap. Like, she had actually sat me down and said, look, Steve, cut out the BS. Like, the reason why you're getting angry with Nelly is because you're not into her. Like, and she needs to know that you're not into her. So you didn't see that on camera, but April was very much Team Nelly. She was like, look, I'll give you advice, Steve.
We'd never have seen that.
Yeah.
In fact, I would have said, watching even the clip on the reunion show, that she was flirting with you or playing with you, or that's how it looked.
Yeah, and Joe, we would sit there. When we come together, we was like, right, she's going through a crap time with Leo. I was going through my issues with Nelly, and thought, when we've come together, it was like the energy just lifted. The apartment, and I said this on the show, it felt like a grey cloud until April walked in.
It's like to me that you were looking for the next kick. like in that experiment. Like by the time that you started to lose interest, you were looking for the next kick, which comes on to Julia Ruth, because she said on camera, and her behaviour really was not acceptable, I don't think. But she said, and I always remember that comment about you and Joe, you're dirty little boys. She said that, didn't she? So I'm going to ask you straight. Did you and Julia Ruth ever have any sexual encounter?
No.
Did you meet her?
No, not once. We had said about going for
Did you have flirty sexual text messages?
Oh, we flirted. But
Sexually?
was it sexual? No, I wouldn't even say sexual. We
Well,
definitely said
sexually,
about,
it's like, you know what I mean.
yeah, like it was nothing like we never said, oh, I want to do this to one another. Like, she had mentioned about writing a letter to me while she was in the experiment, as she was leaving with the
She made it clear she fancied you. She did. I mean, and that must have been, I was watching you. That must have been good for your ego.
Joe, it wasn't, because at that time it's like, yeah, it's good to feel that someone else likes you. I say someone.
She's quite a sexy woman. I mean, I would say Julia Ruth is quite a sexy woman.
She's very eccentric,
sexy.
Yeah. She is very eccentric, and I said, look, like when we all
eccentric and sensual, I would say.
Yeah,
to a man.
But she was like with Devani. Like when we were all together as a group, and this is what again never transpired on camera. As a group, like we saw this. Like there was a time at the apartment. Like
I never felt any sexual chemistry with watching those two. I would say there was more sexual chemistry for me watching her with you or Joe.
I knew, and I said this at the first reunion, chatting to her, knowing that Nelly despised her at this point because of the whole spa retreat stuff and saying my name, and them two went at it. I knew the whole dating app thing, because I denied it, didn't I, at first? I said, look, it's not me.
You did deny dating apps, and it seems to me, even from a young age, that you did go on dating apps. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of men and women do.
Yeah.
But this whole, so we're diversing quite a lot here, but this whole Julia Ruth, this flirting with April, then we get this Hinge, and then we get this Tinder's been mentioned. It's like, again, he's a nice boy, but he's trouble.
Yeah.
You know, this is what it all comes back to. That you've got some sort of sex addict that's obsessed with dating apps.
Yeah, and for me, like,
are you? Or were you?
No, absolutely not. Like I think, do you know what, the dating app thing as well. A lot of the time you do it through boredom. It sounds horrible.
Dating apps really? I mean, I know what gay dating apps are, but they're hookups, they're sex, aren't they?
There's certain ones,
that in the straight world?
No, yeah, there's certain ones, and that they always describe them. Like, obviously, Tinder's the hookup app, Hinge is like the LinkedIn for future wives and the husbands and stuff.
But did you ever go on a dating app, Stephen, when you were single to meet the perfect woman, or did you go on there for a kick?
No, I went on it to try and find someone. Because when I first ever got Hinge, it was when lockdown was happening with me and Chloe broke up. So it's like, I need to get myself back out there now. And when you're having conversations where it's actually like someone's giving you their life story, and you think, oh my God, like it's actually free flowing here. This is what dating life's like. Okay, I like it, because that's why I was newly single. I hadn't been single for 6 years prior. So it was like, okay, where do I go from here? And then you dabble in that, and you date people, it doesn't work. Then you like.
I always thought dating apps, maybe I'm being naive, but I thought dating apps were just for really just, do your business and move on.
Yeah, it was for some people probably, yeah. Like,
which comes back to You're the Perfect Gentleman, because it was portrayed that you went on a dating app behind Nelly's back, and I believe that you were seeing a celebrity as well. I don't know where that story's come from either, because like you never dated or never talked to a celebrity.
I've spoken to celebrities, but not in that sense. Not in that sense. And it was more
dating apps, the Hinge, the Tinders, the whole Julia Ruth thing, which the viewers really did believe that you did have a one-night stand with her. Oh. It made it come over like that you and her had business.
Yeah, and
would you agree? That's how.
Yeah, that's how it come across. But
she played the game as well. She's a performer. She knows how to sell it.
Knew, yeah. But so look, she was very much at playing the villain era. I
thought she was a plant. I actually said this. I don't know if you've read it. I did actually say that to the press.
But
Julia Ruth was a plant, and I'd say it to her face. I think she's an actress.
But some people now, like when you look back at the series, you do think, was I even a plant just to give good TV?
I would never have called you a plant, and I don't think you were, and I don't think you are. Let's make this an exclusive and say that you were.
Yeah.
But I would say that, you know, these reality shows, my show, when I did Big Brother, long time ago, they brought people in to stir up trouble.
Yeah.
And we're not stupid. I know they did.
Yeah.
But that's what they do. But you went on there to find love. You were in the relationship with Nelly. The relationship broke down. The whole night with the ribs, and then the effing idiot comment. What was going through your head at that time? Were you angry?
I was done with it. Like the experiment, having to relive arguments that we'd already resolved 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks prior as well, and it felt like something new has come up every time.
What, with Nelly?
Yeah, but just from like, oh, can you say this and can you do that, and the voxes that we had to do, it was like
I'm talking about the natural
the
relationship. I'm not talking about the editing process for
no,
the show.
Actually, no, yeah.
But I'm talking about just the general day to day, and like something must have made you trigger that day for you to call her that, say that to her.
Yeah, there was questions that were in my head, which April helped me answer later on, which obviously part and sort. But it was more like, am I going to introduce this person to my friends, like other friends outside, my mum and stepdad, and then my kids? And they were questions that weren't answered until later on in the experiment.
You never did you?
No.
So you'd made your mind up how much further you wanted to go.
So we done, it was in-law week.
Yeah.
And they never showed my in-law week. And I obviously made a post about it. But it was her sister and brother come round after the whole ethnic comment. And they grilled me for it, which is right to do so.
A friend grilled you as well, didn't she?
Yeah. And then when it come to my in-law week, I saw my kids and they said on the envelope, you and Nelly are going to see Steven's kids and their mum today. I went, you're not. And
did you say that to her?
Yeah, I said, you're not. I went, it's way too soon in the experiment. And we'd just had that effing idiot comment come out as well. So I went, after everything that's happened this week and given the reality of things, because it was a bubble, right? Everyone's like, 1 week feels like 1 month and 2 weeks feels like 3 months.
Well, as soon as you open your life up to your children, your own flesh and blood, then you're opening up everything, can't you?
Yeah. And I'd already introduced a previous ex to my kids who I was with for 6 months back in 2023. And that was my last girlfriend going into the show. And it was like, that was such a quick fire thing. I shouldn't have done that. So introducing someone to my kids 3-4 weeks into an experiment, just
by the time you forget the outtakes, but by the time you said that comment to her, you were ready to walk.
Oh yeah, I was like, I even gave a percentage in my box. I said, look, I'm like 70% done here. I said, and I gave another percentage later on after the spa. I said,
Did she ask you though, have you had enough?
She did a couple of times.
Stupid.
Yeah,
she must have known.
She clocked on her doors. She even said to me, look, like, if you don't like me, let me know, and then we can at least like be friends from it. But I think by that point, I was like, I don't even think that's even plausible. Like, I don't even think we could, because so much has happened that I wouldn't come up to see you. And it sounds horrible, but I wouldn't come up to Manchester to see you, and I wouldn't expect you to come to London to see me either. So it was like, we're not going to be friends from this. Like, who's friends with their exes? Like I say, I have to be with the kids' mum, because that's very different. But you just married someone on TV who you don't know.
Yeah,
and everyone else there's a stranger as well, by the way.
At the table, they were kind of like friends as such by the end of it. I don't know.
There's you've got
camera maybe,
but you've got like the likes of like Leah, Beck, and Nelly. They always out together because they live in the same sort of area, so they're going to be friends. They were close on the show, and then you've got other people like I've been outed or ousted from the group since. Like, I don't talk to any of the girls, I talk to the guys.
They ousted you because of Nelly?
Yeah, but
because again, you're the one that was the big bad wolf.
And you know what, the thing that done me with it, and I won't mention his name, but you could probably read between the lines here, and everyone else probably would, is someone reached out to me who was lauded on the show for how they come across, and I'm really sorry you're going through this online. I'm seeing some disgusting comments. I'm here if you need me. Here's my number. Message them straight away. Really appreciate it. Like, I love you, mate. Da da da. Because I did appreciate their advice. Then I found out the TikTok that was made about the receipts he had set up.
Oh yeah, you were set up.
So you've went out your way to say I'm here for you if you need me, because I'm seeing the hate you're getting online.
You were set up,
and then you've helped set up that TikTok, which is generating more hate to me now. I went, who are you? And then even since then, he's mentioned certain things that never even made the edit. And it's like, oh, Steven said this. I was like, but that wasn't shown on TV. So I was like, that's then becomes hearsay. But they were getting given the platform.
Somebody worked on the show.
No, this is someone who's
On the
cast
show.
on the show. And it's not that it wasn't just one person, it then become 2 people. And I messaged those 2 people and only one responded. And I said, look, like, if you mention
So a
this thing
fellow
again-
cast member set you up on the show
well, yeah, after the, like, whilst the show was airing,
for press, and it's ridiculous.
like little things. I messaged both saying, look, like, don't mention this again, otherwise I'll take a different route with it, because what you're saying never made TV. And I don't even remember saying it. So it's like, that would impact me even more. So the hate's just died down because the show's ended. And now you're saying this whilst the show's finished, which is going to get even more messages into my inbox. Like,
But that's why you're here today, Stephen, to talk about your story.
Yeah.
And your story, to the way you've been portrayed, is very different to what we know, to what I knew when you walked in. I mean, it's very obvious to me that the relationship with Nelly, you had turned off quite, I would say, fairly quick into the process, and you were ready to move on. But you stayed and you acted in the way I suppose anyone would act if they had had enough, really.
yeah. And do you know what?
Can I just ask you also about the Hinge app?
Yeah.
Were you set up to you messaged her flatmate?
No, that's, I didn't know it was so it wasn't even her flatmate. It was her flatmate's friend.
The flatmate had joined Hinge, and it just so happened that it was Nelly's flatmate, and you got caught out.
So yeah, so I said this on camera when, like, it's very far fetched that the day I'm traveling up to Manchester, I've matched up with your flatmate's friend. So I went and messaged that person now.
Was that, honestly, is that real? Do you think that was not set up?
What's that? I whether or not people who've got Hinge will understand. Like, if I still had Hinge on a phone back in Essex, and so.
But when you were with Nelly, well, you were in the show, but you can't have your mobiles in the show, can you? So if your app's on your phone, you couldn't delete them because you didn't have your phone.
Well, yeah. So
why should you delete everything on your phone when you go in the process?
no,
why
so
should you?
My personal phone, they check everything, like social media, everything.
Yeah, but apps are apps.
Yeah, but I wasn't on, like, even my personal number's changed now, but I couldn't get on Hinge on that phone, but I could on another.
Right.
So if you had a new number and a new email address, I was able to get on it, which I'd done years ago, because I wasn't allowed on Hinge from 2023, which is what I proved on camera. So I impersonated someone to match up with my ex who I caught with someone else.
Oh,
and that's why I was banned.
The mother?
No. There was a girl in between the mother and the show.
Blooming hell, I can't keep up.
So
all these women.
But
you go gay.
But I won't say her name. But yeah, me and her had been on holiday. We split up. I come back and then I basically caught with someone whilst I was giving her stuff back. So I thought it was a crossover.
What, you caught them in bed?
Yeah, I heard them going at it. So
what, you walked in the house and you caught an ex in bed?
No, so I was taking stuff back to her flat.
And you found out what? Yeah. You found out through an app?
No, I found out in person, but I went on to Hinge, created a fake profile, someone else's face with my personal number, matched up with her on Hinge, and she was telling me, like, why she'd broken up with me, basically. And I was like, but she didn't know it was me. And when I said something, only she would know, I would know. The next day I was removed, profile removed.
Okay.
And once you're banned from it, you can appeal it, but I've just impersonated someone. So it's like, you can't.
So have you deleted your apps now?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't need the apps now. I'm happy with.
You're not happy, but you can still keep apps on the phone.
Nah, apps are not necessary for me. I think for me, who I'm with and stuff like that is all I need. So
the process really didn't end greatly for you, it's fair to say. We all know, we've talked about it. Nelly talked about it a little bit at the reunion. It's all written about. But the main thing is that you left that process. You left that process quite scarred, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot more scarred than before, because I brushed a lot of stuff under the carpet. So coming out of that thinking.
So you went into therapy?
Yeah, I was like, I need to give this a go.
So Married at First Sight, the experience made you go into therapy as how you were left feeling.
Yeah, I like to think it was more of a just try it as well, like, because I can't speak highly enough of welfare and psych, to be honest, for me.
But how did you feel, Stephen, when you woke up after the show had aired and you'd left Nelly, gone back to real life? How did you feel?
Oh, I knew life in a few months' time was going to be shit for me. because of it.
And did you revert back to how you felt with the assault?
Kind of, yeah. Like, obviously not as severe, but I definitely thought, yeah, like if I wasn't going back into a job now, like so soon after I left the experiment, literally 3 days after I left the experiment, I was back in work. If I hadn't have went back into that job, with how the show has been aired, I probably would have struggled to be in a job now. Like, honestly, I would, because how I've been portrayed, gaslighting, you know, constantly,
Trolling?
yeah, like,
Did you get trolled? Do you get
Oh.
trolled?
not so much now, but some of the comments I got,
Like what?
well, there was one that would stick me because it mentioned obviously my kid. It was like, I'm glad your kid's disabled so he doesn't get to see how much of a C word you are. But what people don't think, they see me on the screen and I'm thinking behind the screens, I'm having to deal with, my son may never actually call me dad or recognize me as his dad because of his needs. So I'm already dealing with that. And then I'm seeing comments, which I'm not allowed to comment back on because press team are telling me don't. I'm thinking if I do, it's going to get screenshot and sent to the press. And
Read them, really.
but you see the first bit.
That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Like you see it in your requests on social media.
I'm surprised you didn't retaliate to that.
I'm surprised myself. I literally looked at it. I saw the first bit because the preview was, I'm glad your son is disabled. And I clicked on it and I saw the rest of it. And look, if from a female as well who said it, not a male. Like, I think if it's a male, probably.
Oh, women. I mean, that's worse.
Yeah, and it was like someone like you should never be allowed to be a father. And I'm thinking someone like me. I went, I'm a great dad for my kids. Like,
And you see, this is what's sad about all this is that you went on a show to find love because let's face it, Stephen, you've not had the best run with women, have you?
when you look at relationships, no.
So you went on to find love. It didn't work. And it wasn't just your doing. It made two of you. And then you come back to real life and you get a comment like that. That is not good.
And that's just because it mentioned the kids, like the ones I got.
Yeah, but it's because the way you have been portrayed.
So it's like I didn't find love, but I found therapy. I think I even said that in my session.
And you found therapy of your own back after the show.
Yeah, so Psych Amanda, I'll name drop her because she's been exceptional. So
did they find that? The production company?
She said, look, try this therapy. She sent me the links to it. So I looked into it. I thought, okay, yeah, I'm gonna.
And what's therapy done for you? What's it made you see?
Do you know, for me, the coping mechanisms for things, knowing that to not just react in the moment, take a step back.
Would you say that you've got an anger streak?
No, not really.
You've got a temper though, haven't you?
I can be fiery. Yeah, I can definitely be fiery, but I think that comes with a lot of things, like being the youngest of 5 and constantly trying to have a voice growing up, but stuff like that.
Father relationships,
being in work, having to challenge things at times. Like it's literally like sink or swim. So for me, it's like you have to.
So you don't think you have an anger problem?
I wouldn't say I've got anger issues.
They made you look like that.
Yeah, but it's definitely like, look, you can be fiery. Like I'm competitive, right? I've been in competitive industry with football and stuff my entire life.
But football and women are two different things.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm not saying people are being called like the ultimate red flag is like, I'm sitting there going, look, you've got to humour yourself for this, Steve. I went, well, someone's got to wave it. Like, it's not nice, of course not, but it's like, I can't shake this image until I start doing my own stuff, or if I want to stay.
Do you coming away from the experiment now regret that you and Nelly couldn't have made it work?
No regrets on that. Obviously, like
Were you compatible?
No,
you weren't.
No, in the grand scheme of things, no, we weren't. Like 2 different people, and look, I think,
and physically, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I think, look, the intimacy, and I can talk about it. It doesn't bother me. It might.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, were you intimate?
Yeah, a couple of times, yeah. But it finished pretty quickly. Like, and I said, look, the reason for that, the first dinner party everyone saw, she got emotional with things. She was a lot further ahead than what I was in the feeling section. I said, look, we can do this every day, but if I then later on say, look, I'm not into you, but I've just been doing this with you.
Yeah, but a man shares a bed with a girl, they're going to be aroused, aren't they? So, well, unless you really just don't fancy them. But you said that you thought she was glamorous, stunning, etc. But then at the end of the day, we're human beings. I mean, it is what it is.
But I think that the thing is with the whole intimacy side of things as well, like her brother had said to me, look, like she can't flirt for toffee. I was like, yeah, I can see it. Like, there was no flirt in there. Like, there was no natural element. Which
I
is what
wouldn't
you
call
see.
her a sexy woman. Like she is attractive, but Julia Roof is come to bed eyes. She has women. Some women do, some women don't. Some men fancy that, some men don't.
Yeah,
you know,
and
some men don't like that. I don't know.
And it comes out of things. I say confidence is massive when, especially when it comes to men and their mindset. When they've got a confident woman who knows what they want and they say what.
I mean, April talked about sex very openly. She wanted to have sex on television.
Well, so yeah,
she did talk about it,
and the things like
and they did.
Yeah, but me, her, and Ash had a great friendship together as well. So we was able to just laugh a lot of things off and go for a pint and stuff.
No, but what I'm trying to say to you is, you never once talked about you having romps with Nelly on television. Like, you know, talked about your bedroom activity.
Yeah, because she asked me not to out of respect for her family. But yet, on a Vox, she had said that we had been intimate. So I went, why is it you can mention it, even though it would be disrespectful to your family, but I can't? So I was trying to respect that, saying that, I even said on the sofa, I think it was like when Charlene like asked, like, have you been intimate used to? I went, we've reached a certain level of it, but I didn't say what it was. So when me and her knew what it was, but out of respect for her and her family, and especially her dad.
Did you feel a connection though when you were intimate with Nelly? Did you feel?
Do you know what? It happened
Feel
literally.
good?
Well, yeah, it happened 2 days into the honeymoon, because everything was so fresh.
It's novel.
So it was kind of like, we've had a great wedding day. We've flown out. We've been out in Jamaica, sun, sea, the weather. So naturally, it happened.
Absolutely.
Like, it happens, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people say they want to know if that connection is just as strong as the emotional one. The problem was, like, we didn't have the emotional one later on, and we definitely didn't have the physical one either. So it was like, they're two key elements of a relationship. Like, a lot of people get through relationships based on just physicality. If the emotional side isn't there, then they're like, oh, well, the physical side is good. I'll stay for a little bit. But if one of them isn't there, especially the physicality side of things, you're like, well, I can be emotional with them, but then that becomes
you don't
friendly.
Go married at first sight just for sex, do you?
No, you want both.
You absolutely.
Like, I've always said I wanted someone who's like my best friend, like someone you can just vibe with, chill out with, be silly with.
Not how they portrayed you.
Yeah, and I wasn't
someone who goes on dating apps all the time, looking for the next best thing. The way it was portrayed.
Yeah, when actually in reality, I'm looking for my person.
So the show ends. You obviously you don't even do the final ceremony, do you? You've gone. You've left the you've outed. You've gone.
I've done the last CC, but yeah, it was me and her had left.
Final vows, I mean.
Oh yeah, no, I did
that.
Didn't
get to that.
Didn't get to that.
So have you and Nelly had any contact since that day when you last said goodbye?
I apologised to her when the whole TikTok story thing
did you
came
speak to her, or did you?
No, just dropped her a message because I didn't have her number.
Did she respond?
She sent me a screenshot or something, and I was like, well, okay, well, I've just sent you.
Screenshot of what?
So a comment had been made, I think, from the TikTok stories of, oh, when you see who I've been put with, you'll understand, kind of thing. And it was like, she was kind of making it as if like it was to do with her culture. I mean, it wasn't.
Oh, so they're trying to make you look like a racist.
Yeah. How I felt, yeah.
I don't see that.
So for me, it was like,
yeah, but that's the easy way out, Stephen.
Yeah.
It's like, you're an English boy going married to an Indian lady with, obviously comes on in a dolly. It's quite religious, you know. That the first thing I'm going to say, oh, you didn't fancy her because you're racist. I don't believe it.
Well, say, yeah, people.
You call yourself white and black anyway, don't you?
Yeah, like, but people saying, oh, like, oh, you definitely vote for this and you vote for that. I'm like, no, like, so when she put that comment on there saying, like, oh, when you see I've been put with, you'll understand why.
Trying to turn that round. Like,
that comment is purely based on, because we weren't compatible with one another. We didn't match physically or emotionally. It wasn't.
I don't think you're racist.
Yeah. I fucking hope not. Do you know what I mean?
Let's talk about, you left the experiment. She had another stab at you, basically, with the TikTok comments. And it wasn't like, all the best, Stephen, we've done it, move on. No, nothing like that. So it's quite toxic, really. Yeah. Although you're called toxic. It's another comment that you've been called the toxic male of the show. I read that as well.
Well, she would tag me and stuff, and I wasn't tagging her in any of my posts.
So even now, have you had any sort of positive, nice contact?
With the guys, yeah, but
No,
not
with Nelly?
with her. No, nothing. Don't speak to her at all.
No,
There's no reason for me to.
there isn't.
No.
Hence why you didn't go to the reunion.
So
Not because you weren't invited.
no, I said I was invited. Producers asked me, look, please reconsider. I
And
said,
if you had have gone, do you think you would have been nice, professional, nice, or do you think you would have let rip a bit?
do you know what? I would have been there for Bailey 100%, because obviously,
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been about Bailey.
no,
You
but
and Nelly.
I think for me, and like with that situation as well, I would have said a few things. Like I said, I would have told her, look, the reason why I denied a few things, because I thought it was better for you to hear that. Well, I should have just been honest with you. I should have said, look, I went on day naps because I was a single lad. I wasn't into you when I left the experiment. It didn't work.
You've told me that today.
Yeah,
it's pretty obvious from talking to you that you were not compatible.
Yeah.
She was not you.
But I think what you would have seen at reunion that happened, and what's come out with the whole, the other person on the dating app and what they were looking for on that, it's like, well, hang on, you grilled me for that, mate. So what about yourself? And
Is there more dating app things then?
well, no, obviously the grinder thing, wasn't it? With
Yeah, well, look,
So-
let's talk about life now. So you've done the therapy. You've come out probably more headstrong together. You're a dad with 2 children. Unfortunately, one of your son has got 2 mental health illnesses, which you support a charity. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think for me, getting involved with obviously children's mental health charity, obviously that the Princess of Wales obviously is involved in, like, for me that's massive, because I have having to deal with a son who is non-verbal. Like he can sing, which sounds weird when you say he's non-verbal, but it's a different part of your brain which enables speech. So he can sing songs, but he can't actually communicate with you.
Yeah.
So trying to battle through how his life is going to be when he's older. He's 6 now, and he's still none the wiser. Like, he's not even like toilet trained. It's always a nappy. So it's like, this kid may never talk properly in his life. He may get bullied because, there are bullies out there who bully someone because they can't talk or they're different or because he's ginger. Like, I have to deal with that, and I'm thinking, well, me getting involved in these charities are trying to support families who go through challenges in a co-parenting capacity as well, because this kid needs routine. And that's just talking about my son, let alone my daughter. Like, she's obviously fine, but she loses out on a lot of stuff because we're so accommodating to the boy, like Reggie. Like, so Piper feels very isolated and she goes within her shell. Reggie's very much like on it 24/7. And I'm thinking, for him, mentally, he smiles at the world. He loves the world. He sees it as amazing. Where me, on the other hand, I'm sitting as a parent thinking, kid, you have no idea what life is actually like.
No.
And wanting to get involved in these charities and setting up, say, Wonder Kids, which I need to really pick up on, and that is to help families, not just families who have kids with autism and stuff, but actually parents with autism, helping.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. And obviously you're now happy in a relationship, which is great that you can take away. My final question really is, what do you want to do now? Do you want to do another show? Do you want to, not so much love, like dating, do you want to do anything else in the TV world? What is in the pipeline for Steven?
So I think for me, say, staying involved in the charities and doing the celebrity football matches,
Yeah,
I'd love to be able to do more podcasts, whether it's my own or with other people, and to have real conversations. But I want to I want to use my platform that I've been given, so I'm obviously grateful for, to have a positive impact on, say, families, children, and say things can work in a co-parenting.
and I think that's what's been really interesting talking to you today, because we've talked a lot about how you were brought up and your upbringing and your relationship with your father. And it's not just about going on a dating show and having the experience you had, which really didn't work out, that people remember you for. There's so much more that you can talk about, and your son as well, and the charities that make you, in a way, more than Married at First Sight.
Yeah. And so, and I haven't even touched on the therapy, like talking about my journey of EMDR. Like, once I start sharing my stories on that and how it's actually helped me cope with many, many things, even past traumas, it's helping people who probably overlooked the therapy before, or they think, oh, it's not a big deal. Actually, look, just talking about things. I always thought therapy was, I talk to someone, listen.
But you've had it. They do. But they do listen, but you have to talk as well.
Yeah.
But for you and your age, Steven, you've been through so much in your 34 years that what's next for you? You know, do you want to get married?
Oh yeah, love to. Yeah, like for me, like marriage is say that epitome of love.
Do
Like,
you think you found the one? The one?
yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, yeah. So plans ahead and stuff like that. Like, absolutely. Like, that's what I want, and say like who I'm with is that person. So yeah, like I'm happy. So I'm the happiest I've been, and that's not just in life, but like obviously with love and that as well. So it's, had I not done certain things like say therapy, I wouldn't have been committed, because I would have had to have worked on myself. And I'm not the finished article by any stretch. I don't think anyone's truly perfect. Like, they like to think they are, but I always say Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Steven Springett. Like, it's brick by brick every
And on
day.
that note, I love that to end. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Steven Springett. I think that's where we should end. Thank you, Steven.
thank
It's
you
been
for
really, really lovely talking to you.
Thank
It
you.
really has. I could talk to you all day.
Yeah, 'cause, yeah.
What an interesting story that we've got. So that was the wonderful Steven Springett, and what a wonderful chapter of life in 34 years, which is what these podcasts are all about. People that you see on television that even with my own experience, we all make an assumption of who we are and what you are on television. And there's so much editing done on these reality shows and television. You never see the real person and the real journey and the real reasons. And I think that's what makes this podcast stand out from my own experience of being in television and reality, but real life, that it's about finding out the real person and the real truth and what really went on. And there's more to come. Thank you.